The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users. On demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not. No retribution, and thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio. We're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. Welcome to the show. Well, open your eyes, ladies and gentlemen, the next time you go out. Have you noticed more homeless on the streets? I have, not just here in New York City, but elsewhere as I have traveled as well. People living in RVs. People living in tents. And this is not an issue that's limited to the United States. There are tent cities in France, Shantytowns in the Netherlands, homeless on the streets of Japan. Now, these are not just junkies, alcoholics, and mentally distressed people. Increasingly, those living in RVs, tents, and shanties are folks who are victims of the economy. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their homes. Here in the United States, the government is putting billions of dollars into rescuing Wall Street, but how is that going to help the people who I've just described? How does it help someone who has no address to even apply for, much less get a job? This is a daunting issue, ladies and gentlemen, one that's not really addressed. I've not heard it addressed by the federal government. I have not heard the pundits to discuss it. So, I've come to the conclusion when we've addressed this issue before that the best place to come up with solutions for this problem is right here on News Talk Online, on Paltalk.com, because it seems to me that this audience has a better grasp of the situation than the people sitting in their ivory towers, whether on Wall Street or whether on Capitol Hill, or whether at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, or whether in Buckingham Palace, or wherever the seat of government may be where you live. What is being done to help the homeless? What can be done to better help the homeless? And what stories have you to share about your own situation or that of others you know that can better illustrate this struggle? Because increasingly, the people who are homeless out there are our friends, our neighbors, and our relatives. Let me tell you what's going on in Sacramento, California. This is from a story from Reuters, which says the mayor of California State Capitol unveiled plans to shut down a sprawling tent city of the homeless that has drawn worldwide media attention as a symbol of the U.S. economic decline. Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson promised to first make alternative shelter space available for the estimated 150 men and women who inhabit the squalid encampment near the American River at the edge of the city's downtown. You mean it took the embarrassment of worldwide attention, Mr. Mayor, for you to do something for people who are living on the streets of your city? According to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Coalition, 3.5 million people, 1.35 million of which are children, will experience homelessness in a given year. Children under the age of 18 account for 40% of the homeless population. 42% of them are under the age of 5 homeless in the United States of America. 43% of the homeless population are women. 40% of these women are unaccompanied. 22% of homeless women claim domestic abuse as reasons for their homelessness. Yeah, if you don't have a job and you're living with a guy, whether he's your husband or not, and he starts beating you, where are you going to go? 25% of these claim to have been abused within the last year. Yeah, because tensions are higher, and these idiots who can't control themselves take it out on their women and their children. Families with children comprise 33% of the homeless population. How about this? Our veterans constitute 40% of the homeless population. 1 in every 5 homeless person has a severe or persistent mental illness. 25% of the homeless nationwide are employed. This is a terrible situation. I don't hear Barack Obama talking about this. I don't hear Nancy Pelosi talking about this. I don't hear Harry Reid talking about this. All they talk about is bailing out Wall Street. Hey, if these people are such socialists, why is all the money going to the fat cats on Wall Street that created the problem, and none of it is going to the victims of the problem? Jim in Michigan, which I understand has the highest homeless rate in the nation. Jim, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Well, thank you, Gary. It is very sad, and I agree with you fully that nothing is being done like it should or could be done by our government. He was voted by all the people when they were working, and I think the other part of the issue, though, is statistics. Statistics should, I think, show that most people have a family, and our families turning to help, even if they have to put them in a bed in the basement, their relatives in their homes rather than to have them homeless. Therefore, they would have an address where they could be contacted when employment was available.
Yeah, who's going to hire somebody who doesn't have an address? You can't.
Well, Gary, I mentioned that if you took a relative or a friend into your home, they're going to have your address, and they're going to have an address to put on that application.
Yeah. Now, I am told by Alan Jacey that there actually is a program that has just been approved by the federal government, signed into law by the president. It's called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. It's wide-ranging legislation which includes a number of provisions that provide additional assistance and resources to prevent and end homelessness. Well, we got a mayor right here, Alan Jacey, in New York City who claims there isn't a homeless problem, that homeless people aren't living on the streets. Well, either he's blind or he's a liar. Maybe in the dead of winter they're not. Maybe in the dead of winter they're sleeping on a subway or Grand Central Station or Penn Station, or actually down in the subway lines with the trains flying by and the electricity shooting by every time the trains fly by, and the rats sharing their bed space with the rats down there. It's disgusting. The problem is getting worse and worse and worse. And we saw in Florida where they went in and started arresting homeless people. What was their crime? They were homeless. Oh, they didn't have a camping permit. So they criminalized being poor? Are you kidding me? In the United States of America, now, 2008 and 2009, it is a crime to be poor? It's disgusting. Totally disgusting. I'm trying to pull up the screen here to see